Okay, so you've got your wheel, and now we're going to draw ourselves a slightly more freeform car than the cars that I've been showing you how to draw. So I'm going to show you how to do that. And the way that we're going to do that is we're going to put a sketch on our Rhino page, and then we're going to trace over the top of it. So Rhino allows you to import an image that you can then draw over the top of to create a 3D shape. So I found an image on the internet of a car. So what you do is you start by typing in background bitmap. Come up in your toolbar there, hit enter, and then you need to find the bitmap that you're going to use. So this is the car that I'm going to use. You can either draw it yourself or you can find one that you like the look of. Click open, then it asks you for the first corner, then it asks you for the second corner. I'm going to make it that big for now. Alright, so what I need to do is I need to line my wheel up with the wheel that I've already drawn. So now that I've got it here, I'm going to make this view bigger so that I can just see this view. So I'm going to double click right. Okay, so I'm just working in this one view at the moment. Now I need to move my object, so I can either hit M or I can click here, move, and I need to move it. Apparently I can't move it. Interesting. Okay, I'm just going to click done, and then I'm going to write background bitmap again. Now I'm going to try and move. Okay, now it's letting me move. So I'm going to move it from the center of here down to the center of here. One annoying thing about Rhino is it doesn't let you see what you're moving when you're moving it. So you have to know what you're clicking. Okay, so you can see I've got a wheel behind the wheel. Now I need to make my Rhino file, this background bitmap, a bit bigger. So I need to scale it. So I click scale, and then it wants the origin point. So I'm going to click the origin point in here. Now, while I'm doing this, I'm going to hold down Alt, which was how I got my snaps to temporarily turn off. So I'm going to click here, and then it asks for the first reference point, which is going to be the top of the wheel that you can see in the background there. So I'm going to hold down Shift so it doesn't go all kind of crazy distorted. Click once, and then I'm going to move my mouse up to the top of the wheel that I've drawn. Okay, zoom out a little bit. The grid's a little bit annoying here, so what we're going to do is we're going to move this over here so it's out the way of the grid, and we're going to get our wheel, and we're going to move our wheel onto the top of the wheel that's there. Okay, so you can see I have now got my background bitmap to the right scale compared to my wheels. Now I need to move my wheel. I need another wheel over here, so I can go copy paste, then I can hold down Shift to move one of them, or a shortcut is to select your wheel, start to drag it, hold down Alt or tap Alt, and you get a little plus next to your mouse. Hold down Shift to get it to go straight across, and then you have two wheels. So I'll just turn this on to shaded so you can see the wheels there. And you can see one wheel over at the front. Need to move that one back a little bit. I'm going to hold down Alt to get rid of my snaps. Right, so I have a wheel. Now I need to draw this car. So before we've been using the line tool mostly, so this we're going to use is curves. There's a few different ways of drawing curves. So the ones that we mostly use are this one, control point curve, and interpolate points curve. So the difference is if you click this one, your first point, the points will pass through the points that you click. So if I click at the top of this image, the line passes through that point and then it continues on to the next point that I click. Press enter when I'm done. The other way of drawing a curve is a control point curve. So if I start here, I'm going to hold down Alt for a second, and I click up here, it's not actually the point that it's touching, but that's the anchor, so it's kind of like wedging it at that point, but it doesn't actually make it touch at that point. The reason why this is useful is because when we're drawing these shapes here, we're going to use this one because it will allow us to click on the actual points that we want the curve to flow through, and then hopefully we'll end up with a nice curve. So we're going to do step by step on this drawing. I've created a layer called construction, which I'm just going to use for drawing these lines. So I'm going to start at the front of the car, draw down to the back of the car, and I might shorten the video up a little bit so the next thing that you see is it kind of drawn, or maybe I can speed it up, see how clever I can be. So here we go. I'm going to zoom in so I can see what I'm doing, and I'm going to click, and you can see if I click right back here, then up in the middle here, my line is not touching the bonnet, so I have to be careful how far I click at a time. Oops. You want to do the least amount of clicks possible. It will give you the smoothest curve. So if you can get away with clicking further, that's a good thing. Alright, I think I've drawn enough of those lines to give you an idea, so now I'm going to turn the background bitmap off. So typing in background bitmap, and then I can hit visible and it disappears. If I want to get the background bitmap back again, I can just turn it back on like this. So that's going off at the moment because I don't want to be able to see that. Okay, so now I have my car drawn here. So if I double click this and I just hit Z, A, E, you can see that the wheel that I've drawn at the moment is not actually joined up to the car. What I want to be able to do is I want to be able to put a nice line around there that is going to define the edge of my guard for my wheel. So I'm going to offset a curve. So O-double-F-S-E-T, offset a curve, and I'm going to click one of these curves, and I'm going to enter a number that looks about right. So I'm going to do 5 at the moment. Now my only difficulty is that this curve is over here, and I actually want it back in line with the rest of this stuff here. So what I can, I'm going to do the other wheel at the same time. Except I don't know which curve I've set. Okay, so I need to push these lines, these two curves backwards so that they line up with the edge of the car. So one way of doing that that I use quite regularly is just to draw a simple surface, which we're going to delete in a minute. So I've just used that tool there to draw a surface. And then what I want to do is use the tool that's underneath it to project curves. So select the curves that I want to project. So I want to project, oh my gosh, you can't really see that because it's all in green, but there's a curve there, there's a curve somewhere there. Press enter when you're done. Select the surface that you want to project it onto, which is that one. Press enter when you're done. And then you can see that those two curves have moved back to be in line with the car. Now I can delete this surface, and I can also delete these two curves. Alright, so I'm going to turn my tire and rim off for a little bit because I don't want to be working with those. And I'm going to show you very briefly how you can make that into a simple 3D shape. We're not going to go too complex with this. So I need that corner there to join up, and I need that corner there to join up. So because I'm working on a flat thing, I may as well work nice and big in this view here. So a couple of different ways of doing that. One of the ways is you can click the object, and you see it's got this little point there, and you can just drag this point down. Right, so that's probably the easiest for what we're doing, just so it's near to that one. Now I want to make a surface out of the outside part of the shape, so I need to, I'm going to split this because I don't actually need this bottom part of it here, so I'm going to get both of those, type in split, which you can also find here, I think. I can't get it to show you. Anyway, type in split, click, click, click. Okay, so now I've cut this object. Delete that, delete that. Okay, so planar surface, which we've used before. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to click all the way around the edge of my car, and all of my curves line up at the edge, so they're all touching every point as a corner, which should allow me to make a nice planar surface. Okay, so there I have my side of my car. I'm going to turn my tire and rim on for a second. Now I need to decide how wide my car is going to be, so this is just for this because we're working on a slightly smaller model scale. It's kind of be guesswork. So I'm going to extrude my surface, and I'm going to decide how far looks reasonable for the length of my car. So I'm looking at the top view mostly here, and I'm going to decide that that's about the distance that I'm going to extrude it. Now my wheels and tires are in the wrong place, so I'm going to grab those, and I'm going to move these out to the side of the car. Oh no, I moved them to the wrong side. Come over here. Right. And I'm going to mirror these. Oops, click that, type in mirror. I'm going to mirror it through the middle, the center point of the car, which is the top view. Click, click again, and then I've got wheels on both sides of the car. Now I drew in a heap of extra detail, doors and everything like that. It is very possible for you to draw the doors and the window and all that, and I think I'll probably create another video in order to show you how to do that. So that would, that would be how you would create a still flat, it's completely flat on this side, but it's got curvature on this side, and I've got my wheels in there. Okay, good luck, let me know if you get stuck.